The Samsung Galaxy A54 5G after an entire week. And this is something that I mentioned when I finally said something good about the Pixel 7 after the disaster that was the Pixel 6. Only Nixon could go to China, and the same thing is going to apply here with the A54 5G. After I absolutely could not stand the A53, the way it performed, I really like the A54 5G, and you have to understand where it's coming from. So, the biggest question, and what we're going to start with, is performance of the A54. It's a different philosophy to what Pixel offers with the 6A. I'm going to do a full comparison of those two devices, but it's a different mindset. Google wants to give you that raw power, just the flagship performance that you'd get out of a Tensor chip. That's their philosophy there. But they're going to sacrifice on things like the screen, like the build, expandable storage. Samsung is saying, you know what? We're going to give you a top-notch display. We're going to give you a premium build, especially this year. We're going to give you Android 13 running One UI 5.1. We're going to give you all of that. But the performance isn't going to be as spectacular. Here was the problem last year. The problem last year was that the processing performance that they gave you, the kind of mid-tier performance, what they called mid-tier performance, couldn't bridge to have you enjoy the other premium features that they included. It's like in American football, okay? You have a quarterback. The processor for the Samsung's got to be like a game manager. It's just got to get the ball to the other playmakers that they've got and let you put them on display and have them score for you. It doesn't have to go out and win games. It's not like the performance on the Pixel where it's going to go ahead and pass for 400 yards and win a game by itself. It just has to not turn the ball over. The A53 5G's processor turned the ball over repeatedly. But this year, it's not the case. The Exynos 1380 did enough to get the ball in the hands of Samsung's playmakers. The 120 hertz display, 1000 nits, absolutely gorgeous. The premium build quality, One UI 5.1. I found myself enjoying things like the multitasking on the 5.1 this year. Enjoying things like taking a photo, which I know would have been crazy last year. I could open the phone and pull down the notification shade and not have the phone drag to a halt. I'm going to give you a little preview of what I talked about in my Android Police article for the A54 5G. Essentially what I said is I wouldn't buy this because of its performance, but I wouldn't disqualify it because of its performance either. And that is a huge, huge upgrade over the A53. Link for this will be in the description, by the way. There's going to be two links, the one to Samsung and the one to Amazon if you want the imported colors. If you want the white or the lime, you got to import, but be careful. You're going to be limited to T-Mobile there, whereas the American version with the black and the violet, you could basically run it on all the carriers. It is carrier unlocked. They help the channel, by the way. Full disclosure there. Okay, build quality. Definitely a step up from the A53 5G. Look, this was a solid device. I had no problem with it, but I really like this new sleeker design language that they've gotten, which kind of pulls it more in line with the S23 lineup of devices. We had no camera hump, nice smooth back. Gorilla Glass 5 on the back this year, which you notice immediately upon picking up the phone. Like I said, no slouch here, but it's a step up. It's definitely a step up. I like the Gorilla Glass 5 on the back. Even though they added the glass, still no wireless charge on the A54 5G, which a lot of people are going to have a problem with. But a feature that they do have still this year on the A54 5G is upgradable storage. Micro SD card expandability up to 1 terabyte, which is nice. And I think I've mentioned this before in other videos. This is really the kind of the last generation, or the, I guess, best build and best performance of a device that you're going to get that's going to retain the micro SD card storage, at least I think in the United States, from the major carriers or from the major manufacturers. This is one of the last devices that you're going to be able to pay that $500 range that's going to have something like that. And a lot of people said they aren't going to upgrade their phone. They were holding off on upgrading their phone until there was a reliable solution that had a micro SD card slot. And this has one, and I actually kind of like it. Look, I could swipe up and down. I could go through the UI. Let's pull up some Twitter, shall we? Look at that. We're talking Tyreek Hill. We were talking about football earlier. Let's go ahead and, oh man, I could scroll there, nice and smooth. I could get out of an app. Let's go over to Instagram here. Pull Instagram up. We got Unihertz there. We got the Titan Slim. Oh, nice smooth scroll on Instagram as it loads up, and I can swipe out of that, and the phone doesn't seize up. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing this year. Battery life. I know I had mentioned in the preview about 7 hours. That's calmed down. We're looking at about a 6 to 6.5 hours of screen on time. But we talk about this. I know it's a subjective thing. It's an easy 6.5 hours. I'm not noticing a lot of network drain. I'm not noticing a lot of standby drain. I'm not noticing that I'm sweating it out at the end of the day. I'm going an entire day with my usage and still seeing 40, 50% up there, whereas last year I see about 30%, and you'd have to start thinking about your usage a little bit more. You could use this battery, you could use the phone hard, and not have to worry about it. IP67, dust and water resistance, so you at least get some protection there. I know it's important to some people. Camera, I'll throw up a couple more shots. It does a decent job. Is it the Pixel camera? No, but that's one of the trade-offs. Pixel's giving you raw performance, the computational stuff, the AI stuff that they put in the Pixel UI experience. They're giving you the camera. They're giving you some of that other stuff there. But Samsung counters with what they counter with. Expandable storage, much better display, markedly better display, better build quality, One UI 5.1. So there's a balance here finally. It's not a one-sided fight. The Pixel 6a beat up on the A53 5G last year. Not going to be the case this year when I do the comparison. Not going to be the case. Samsung has finally put together a feature set and married it with a performance that at least can justify as a conversation at $449. And this feels a little bit wider to me than the A53. I do like wider phones. I hate when we get those narrow, tall phones. I like the wider. I love the build on it. Still going to be a plastic frame, but it's nice matte plastic. No issues with that. Speakers sound excellent, by the way. Dolby Atmos tuned speakers, they sound really good. Dual speaker, rich sound. You can pump it up. It's not going to get distorted. I like that as well. No DeX. I know that's a big deal for a lot of Samsung fans. No DeX, but DeX is... I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if it's a way to differentiate products for Samsung, justify charging more, justifying getting people to upgrade to a different product. But the Z Flip 4 doesn't have DeX. And that's running a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 Plus. If that's not running DeX, then I don't know how to help you here. So it's certainly not in the $500 range that they're going to put DeX. It's disappointing if they make that kind of a flagship top-tier exclusive that you got to pay extra for, but a lot of people like it. And they said on the Flip 4 it was a heating dissipation. I don't know what the heck is going on there. I probably could run it just fine, but they don't do it for whatever reason. And then there's One UI 5.1, which to me is the cleanest, nicest looking distribution of Android. I love the aesthetic of it. It takes in just enough of Material U, but it runs really well. It's optimized well. It doesn't drain. It doesn't unnecessarily burden any of the hardware. It's just an overall pleasant experience. Samsung has really dialed it up with One UI 5.1, and here is a nice representation of it, and it's running well. I didn't think I would say it. I like I said in the last video, there was anger built up in my heart. I was ready to unleash on this. When I heard it had another Exynos, when there was early reports of lag, is it a speed demon? No. You might get a little hiccup there when you're going into the phone. The fingerprint sensor works fine. Face unlock is snappy. But it gets you through. It doesn't take me out of the experience like it did last year. And like we talked about, it's that quarterback. Let your other stars shine. Get the ball to the star wide receiver. Last year, they didn't do that. They fumbled so hard, it pulled me out of the experience. I didn't care about the 120 hertz panel because it couldn't push 120 hertz. It was nuts. It was just season up. So not that problem this year. A lot to like here. This is going to be a legitimate battle between the A54 5G, the 6A right now, and then the 7A when it comes out with wireless charge, Tensor 2, 90 hertz display. So I'm looking forward to a really good battle this year with the mid-rangers. But this year, good job for Samsung. $449, absolutely worth it. If you don't want to go to you want to go to the flagship range, spend that money, but you still want a really good representative One UI 5.1 experience, this will get you done. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have that Steve-licious day.